I'm sorry you lost the sister you never had.
You're the sister I never had.
I want to give you a hug.
You're not gonna like it.
Oh, who cares? Yes, you're right, that was horrible.
Hello and welcome to Haunting Button House, a BBC Ghost podcast. I am Luke and I am joined by Tash. How are you today, Tash?
I'm okay, thanks, Luke. How are you?
You put your hands on your mouth then, and I thought if I said something wrong immediately.
No.
Good start, yeah. No, it's, yeah. So, all good.
All good. All good.
What have you been up to?
Oh, my days. What have I been up to?
I know what I've been up to.
I should have thought. I always forget to think about this before.
One of us has been on holiday this week.
Oh, yeah. I went to London now. We were both meant to be going to London now.
Yeah.
But our cat decided to have a dental emergency, which meant that Luke had to stay behind.
And she was fine. Literally the day after, she was like, A-okay. But, you know.
But we love her.
What can you do? Yeah. So, yeah. How was London now?
It was good, thanks. I had to limit myself in the arcades because obviously it can get out of control.
And the 2p machines.
On the 2p machines. Yeah, ate some nice food, and I mean, what more can you ask for when you go anywhere?
Mm.
I went to the Home Front Museum that's in London now.
Yeah.
And whilst walking around, I did sort of feel like the captain would approve of this museum. It was very good. If you're ever in London now, which is in North Wales, for anyone who might not know is not from the UK. So it's in North Wales, and yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's a brilliant little museum. It's actually only it's a guy who has this museum, and it's just his own collection of things that he's been collecting for the last 40 years, and it's pretty impressive.
Why not show it off?
They've got a little Morse code thing. Did
you learn any Morse code?
No, it's hard.
Yeah.
They really should have come up with something a bit more simple.
I guess, to be fair, if you ever need to do Morse code, you just need to say SOS, like, because you're probably just having a bad time.
Like, hello.
Yeah.
Please
Please help.
assist.
Yeah.
So that was quite good. So yeah, what have you been doing, Luke? Just nothing.
Well, while you were in London, though.
London.
It's a difficult word to say. I've been watching a lot of football.
Of course.
As the Euros are on at the moment. Kind of got burnt out on football at the end of this sort of, especially because England they're through. They're not great. To put it mildly. So, yeah, that's what I've been up to. But yeah, we've got all that to look forward to, which sort of goes neatly into something we were going to mention at the top of this episode, just to give you a bit of a heads up. This is the last episode of this series, and then we've got the Christmas special, and then we've done
next week,
and then we've done series 3. In July, we're on holiday, and we also have some other things that we're doing as well during that month, and we just thought it seems a bit silly to come back, do one episode, then have like 2 weeks off, then do an episode, then have a week off.
What date did we say we go back? It's not the whole of July.
Not the whole of July, no.
I think it was, we've obviously got this week's episode, which if you're listening to this, it would have come out on the 29th of June. And then we've got an episode next week, which will be the 6th of June. No, 6th of July.
July, yeah.
And then I think we look to come back on the 3rd of August. So you actually it's only 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just a 3-week break, just while we get our stuff together.
Yeah, while we're away. But yeah, just to give you a heads up now, so yeah, 2 weeks notice. So, you know, for anybody who's waiting on bated breath for Series 4, yeah, there'll be a bit of delay.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll you'll cope without us.
Do we have any feedback?
We have a bit of feedback. One piece of feedback this week from Caroline. So Caroline says, I love the fact that Kitty has adopted members of her ghost family to replace her lifetime family. The captain very much fulfills the role of a kindly father to her. We see this often throughout the show, which is,
I guess, we didn't touch on that, like, I guess they fill the roles within the house that sort of fits their character, I guess.
Yeah.
So obviously, Fanny being the sort of fussy, I was going to say au pair, I guess they kind of are, do you know what I mean?
I'd say like...
Nanny.
Or like I think of her as like an aunt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like stuffy aunt.
Yeah.
And of course, Alison is her new sister. I would definitely rate this episode above last week's. We get to know quite a bit more about our characters from this, and it addresses how frustrating it must be for Mike to not know half of what's going on around him. Yeah, I think we can agree that would be really frustrating.
It would be like, do you know when somebody's on the phone to somebody and you can only ever hear half the conversation?
Yes.
Imagine that, but all the time.
Yeah, you'd always feel a bit out of the party, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Be like, what did they say?
So yeah, that was the feedback that we had last week. One thing I did want to mention as well, there's going to be a new book.
There is, yeah.
We haven't sort of mentioned that. So that's exciting, something to look forward to in October.
We've not even got to the first book yet, and they're releasing a second.
I know. I feel like we can't look at the book though until
we've done
the whole thing, because it came out. Oh no! It actually came out before the Christmas special. It must have done, because we bought it at Christmas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the Christmas special hadn't come out, so
they'd have produced it though. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'd have probably known how it was going to go.
Although I do feel that like the book is going to give us like a lot more insight into a lot of things that we might be missing, that like other listeners might have picked up on in the book. So I don't know, maybe we did it the wrong way round. But yeah, we definitely are gonna look at that book. Is the book available in other countries?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't think it's
the listeners, our listeners.
And I'm sure you can get it as an ebook if you can't get the physical version. There's always an ebook.
Yeah. But yeah, so new book in October. I don't know where we'll be. Will we finish by then?
Possibly. I would assume so.
We'll space it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We've only got 2 series left.
I know.
That is so scary.
Yeah,
what are we going to do with our lives?
Don't know. I'm not going to after editing spooky corners and stuff like that now, am I? So,
still got 2 series to go.
True,
We're all good. Just a quick one. We forgot to mention it before, but as we normally do for our last episode of the series, we want to hear your feedback. So if you have any feedback on series 3, let us know. So it'd be interesting to know maybe like your favourite episode, maybe your favourite scene in the whole series, or something that happened, your favourite quote, and maybe your favourite character, and then also just how you might be enjoying the podcast so far. Basically any feedback that you have on us, the podcast, or the series is welcomed. And then after we've discussed the Christmas special, in the next episode we'll go into and have a look at your feedback and kind of maybe look at our own sort of thoughts on the series as a whole.
Yeah.
So thank you. Oh, sorry. Just you can send feedback to message on the Facebook page. So it's like a page, like a friend page rather than a likeable page. You can message on there. You can message us on Instagram. So that's at Haunting Button House. And you can also email us at hauntingbuttonhouse@outlook.com. And if you go on our Instagram, you can find our link tree, and there's links in there if you're not sure. The links
should all be on the podcast notes as well.
The links are on the podcast notes. So yeah. So yeah, look forward to hearing from you.
So, this week we are looking at episode 6 of series 3. It's entitled Part of the Family. It was directed by Nick Collett, written by Matthew Bainton and Ben Wilbond. Wilbond. Do you know what's mad? It comes up a little red squiggly line under the name saying you spelt it wrong. I'm like, I definitely haven't. The original air date was the 13th of September 2021. So we start the episode and we hear the ghosts all having an argument upstairs as Alison goes up. And we find that it's just Mike watching football with Mary, Pat and Julian all shouting at the TV.
I genuinely thought they were having a Barney before. Yeah. I think it might be Pat. It says, "Come on, you Red."
Yeah. I like Mary's sort of enthusiasm for it. It reminds me of the people who want to be enthusiastic about something but have no idea about what they're doing. They go, "Just the red ones." It's.
I don't know. I think she wants to be involved.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think she does, but
she
when
just
don't get it. Yeah. We see. I think Pat and Julian are on different sides of this game as well because they seem to be shouting at different times. Yeah. At least it's a nice bit of friendly rivalry, I guess. Mike but Alison asks him why he's watching this, and Mike sort of says, "Oh, it's just something to talk about at work." Which, if you're not into sports, I'll tell you, they're an easy way to just have something to socialise about. Right? Like, if you're like, I have nothing to talk about with this person, just start talking about a sport because somebody will watch it around you. Fanny comes in and starts saying they need to turn this off because her Murder, She Wrote is about to start.
I think it's Murder, She Wrote.
Sorry, yes, yeah. That's why I wrote it down. I was like, the way she says it.
I know. I actually went and found my favourite Jessica Fletcher quote.
Go on. I didn't know people had a favourite Fletcher quote.
Jessica Fletcher quote.
Yeah.
Well, I do. And it's one I came across recently. And it's I want this written when I die and become a ghost. I want this written on my headstone.
Bold. I didn't know you were a Murder, She Wrote fan, so this is going to be interesting.
Well,
I didn't know she was such a big that she's not, apparently.
It says, "Now I may be wrong, but frankly I doubt it."
Okay, yeah, right, yeah. That's a good thing to have on a headstone.
Yeah. I remembered that. I needed to find it.
Don't worry, we get some more Fletcher action coming back later on. So,
you have watched Murder, She Wrote.
I've watched the theme at the beginning, and then I turn it off.
With the title.
Yeah, I know what it is. All I know is
it's classic Angela Lansbury.
It is classic, but I'm not interested in it. But the theme tune's good, and I like the bit in Spaced where they sort of spoof it. She's trying to write a book and just absolutely can't do it. Anyway, that's for our Spaced podcast, which is never getting made. Anyway, Mike sort of says that they need to make some kind of promotional video to advertise Button House, and that's what he's been working on, basically. And Alison sort of says she's not getting in front of the camera again, not after last time. And also, it's interesting that she brings this up. She's not getting in front of the camera again, not after last time, after how we know the episode ends.
Yeah.
And like all the stress it's caused her from doing this, like in the long run. But yeah, Alison also mentions that she's going to meet Lucy. I did like in this part that Alison says that she... Mike says that she just fancies one of the footballers, and she says that she admires their skills, which Thomas sees, and then decides, I'm going to practice my football skills. And Humphrey's head realizes he's got a world of pain. Yeah. I also like Mike was sat on the sofa just saying, "Oh, I could do that," which is very much something people say when they watch sports. From the sofa anyway. And that's the intro scene. So yeah, promotional video. Alison's going to meet Lucy is basically the what we get from that anyway. After the intro, walking through the countryside. Alison and Lucy are sort of talking. I did like as well that Alison walks past a ghost, acknowledges him to the point where he realizes that she has, and then he keeps trying to talk
Pestering
to her.
her.
Yeah, like, was he a Civil War ghost, like soldier? Basically.
I mean, you would if you'd never been seen. If you'd never been acknowledged by someone, and then all of a sudden someone sort of acknowledged you, you'd be like, I need to talk to this person, like, talk to me.
I like how he asks her as well, can you tell me who won the war?
I missed that.
So long ago that it's like don't worry about it.
Who did win the war?
He did win, so yeah, at least.
At least he didn't die for nothing.
Well, yeah. Well, kind of did, because a few years later the king came back anyway, so...
Don't tell him.
I won't tell
better
him.
Better what you don't know, can't it?
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But yeah, Alison and Lucy are sort of talking, and Lucy basically lets up that she's been conned out of all of her money. She handed all of her money over to, I can't remember what she says, but somebody who, business partner for this art idea that she was hatching, and basically put all of her money, pulled it all into one account, and then this guy has ran away with all the money. So she's lost all of her savings, and Lucy starts to cry. We cut back to the house at this point. And
do you think, just to add, do you think when we watched this the first time, we knew that Lucy was not legit?
I think you start getting hints a bit early on, and I think this cements it. I think.
Yeah. I think she was avoiding answering questions and stuff before, and now I think anytime somebody comes to you with a sob story of money when you don't really... I don't know, maybe that's harsh.
She also doesn't ask for it outright as well, which I think is like manipulative. Like if somebody said, I need some money, like it's quite more honest, to be honest. If somebody said, I need you, I don't know if you'd give it them.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but...
I'd be like, I ain't got any to give you.
Yeah. I think con artists, though, try and get you to think it's your idea.
Yeah.
So,
which, yeah.
But anyway, so back in the house, Kitty and the captain are acting out an improvised scene about escaping from an island. Do they just chop down a tree and fashion into a canoe? But yeah, we get this nice improvised scene, and because of this, Pat is sort of leading it all.
Yeah.
He wants to get somebody else involved, so he asks Mary and Robin to go next.
I think it was Julian, and he says, "Whose line is it anyway?"
Oh yeah.
Which is a TV show.
It is,
people.
yeah.
Have they got that?
Yeah, I think is it American? I don't know. I thought it was American.
They've got it in the UK, but I don't know if maybe they have like American versions.
I think so. Yeah. I think there's definitely an American version because I've seen clips of an American version. Anyway, but yeah. So Julian says that. Fanny says she's going to watch Murder, She Wrote. So she's obsessed, much like yourself.
I'm not obsessed. I can't say I've watched it in years. I just knew that Jessica Fletcher had some good quotes, and I was like, I'm going to find one.
Wow. There you go. That is a good quote. But yeah, so he managed to get Mary and Robin to go next and act out their improvised scene.
OK, well, let's start with something simple. So how about the shopkeeper and the customer? Mary enters Robin's shop and... improvise.
Where's the shop?
It's here.
What?
Well, it's pretend. You know, use your imagination. It's in your imagination. Yeah. Door, Mary.
Please, can I have a door?
Oh, it's a door shop. Great, yeah.
No.
OK, now, Robin, that's called blocking. Mary's made you an offer there. She's made this a door shop. So you need to build on that and say something like, what kind of door do you require, madam?
What do you want?
Oh, can I have a new door?
No.
OK, Robin, that's... don't block, OK? In improvisation, you say yes and, OK?
Yes and no.
Yeah, I know. Why do I want a new door, though, Patrick?
I don't know. It's not like... Let's try something new, OK? How about the doctor's surgery?
Oh,
yes, OK. And... improvise.
Hello, are you a doctor?
No.
Flaming Nora.
Yeah, so Robin just breaking all of the improv rules by just saying no to everything, which is improv rule 101. You never say no. I just love the bit where he just goes, "Hello, are you a doctor?" And he just goes, "No." just completely derails it. I think this definitely like the one of the best scenes like in. I properly made me laugh. This bit did, so yeah, and I think it shows their improv background. You know what I mean? Like because that's probably how the comedy groups. That's how they always get together. So it just shows how quick they are at doing a bad improv as well, which I think is tough. We see that Mike has now purchased a drone because he wants to film all of the house and all the land.
I just like when he says, I wanted you to put this as a quote, but I don't think it can for like the 3 seconds he says it. He's like, Daddy's got a brand new drone.
I've forgotten how we get announced this drone. It sort of just starts flying up into the window and the captain jumps for cover.
Jumps cover, doesn't he?
Well, imagine if you've never seen a drone before, you must think this is some kind of like weapon.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, if I saw a drone outside my house, I'd probably duck. Because I'd be like, who's got a drone outside
Surely,
the house?
do they? I mean, I don't know much about. Well, I know enough about drones, but do they hurt if they hit you, like the propellers? Surely
Probably,
they would.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they'd like cut your hand off.
I don't
or
think it'd
anything,
chop
but-
your arm
yeah.
off, but no, I think it would
Hurt,
cut you, I think.
Yeah, I thought
It depends
so.
what the propellers are made out of, but they've got to be quite...
They're usually plastic, I think, aren't they? But anyway, yeah. So still, it could be a weapon. Julian is very fascinated by you, and he goes outside to sort of join Mike in his experimentation.
I had a question.
Yeah.
When we saw Julian outside, I was looking at him, and maybe this is a question that I could have asked maybe like 2 episodes ago. Does he wear pants?
I think so, yeah.
No, not pants as in trousers, as American listeners might know pants, but like underwear.
Underpants, yeah.
Like, has he got his underpants on? Because we don't see his underpants.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't see anything else that might be contained within the underpants, but we don't see bare cheek, and we don't see his pants.
I'm pretty sure he's got pants on, just no trousers, basically. Okay. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. A very different TV show, I think.
Yeah. Obviously, I wasn't expecting we would see anything, but I wondered, for the sake of the story, has he got pants on?
I think so,
Underwear pants, not pants.
This is getting very confusing.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I think he has. I don't think it's pronounced. They never really like linger on it, but you just know that he doesn't have trousers on. Yeah, so he goes out to join him outside, and kind of says that he starts saying how they used to have those when he was a politician, but they were all for like war, basically, which I imagine at that point probably would have just been that kind of stuff. We also see Thomas practicing his keepy uppies outside with Humphrey's head, to which he says to Humphrey, stop complaining, we're both suffering. Less,
I feel
one less than the other. Mike starts doing his video, and he is just... He's more confident than Alison, but not much more competent, I suppose is the word. As he keeps stumbling over his words, he can't get his sort of what he's trying to get out. Julian compares him to Jeffrey Archer on Newsnight, which a dated reference for me.
I didn't know who that was.
I know who Jeffrey Archer is, but I have no idea what he did on Newsnight, if there is some kind of event. We see Alison turning up, ruining his shot, which kind of saved...
She like backs out of it.
Like she's not going to be in it. Which, ruins his shot, but kind of probably helps him, saves him from having to do another take at that point. She also mentions that Julia... she says one of the ghosts is with him, and he says, which one? And he says, Julia, and he says, that's all I need. I suppose this is from the last time where he was messing up his job. She explains about her situation with her sister, And well, while that's all going on, we see the rest of Mary's continued improvisation. It's just gone wildly off the actual what they're talking about now. What it's basically a fairy tale at this point, isn't it? She starts talking about how they've gone into like another land and like there's fairies there and like it's just I think Pat says that she's got too much imagination, and then we also see Robin just completely not get it. But back outside, Alison explains the situation to Mike, and even though they're sort of saving towards this gatehouse that they're looking to sort of set up, Mike straight away offers maybe we should just help her with the some of their savings and basically help her start this business. He said that he'd do it for his sisters, and he backtracks and says one of his sisters anyway. I'd like to guess which one. Which one do you reckon he's not?
I don't know. I guess I can't really remember them. I've only watched like that episode once.
Because he's got two sisters. One was always mocking him, so I assume maybe
the other one.
Yeah, I can't remember their names now because we've only seen him once.
Yeah, because that was the Christmas special that we.
That just watched.
Yeah.
Back upstairs, we see Kitty is staring at a photo of Alison's father, Alison's dad, and this is the one that Lucy basically produced a while ago as well. She's also looking at some new photos of Alison and Lucy together, and is kind of looking a bit morose, like about how they're not. She's not involved, I guess. And the captain comes and tries to cheer her up. And as he sort of sees this photo, he says, that's Weymouth. It's really nice. And this sort of
sparks alarm bells,
yeah, in Kitty. And she says, no, Lucy said this was Cornwall. And Captain quite categorically can say it's definitely Weymouth because he went there and he has a tragic memory of killing a seagull in Weymouth. Which I think still haunts him now. He says he shot it with a Bren. If he remembers all of that detail, he's definitely got this
trauma.
Yeah. He's definitely got the right place.
I thought it was quite sweet, their interaction when he first comes in and sees Kitty's like a little bit upset. Like he's quite sort of comforting to her, which kind of links us back to that like fatherly
seen as a father
thing. I can't remember exactly what he said. I should have written it down, but he said something like wanting to see a smile, like because he says, "Oh, show us that smile." Basically, like it's just really sweet. Like it's kind of, I don't know, because I think being that sort of that sweet, saying nice things doesn't necessarily come naturally. Like to him, because he's quite like matter of fact and
stiff upper lip
definitely that kind of wartime sort of keep calm and carry on, kind of get on with it sort of thing. So I think it's sort of it just sort of shows their relationship and sort of what he thinks of her, really, because we kind of always do say that Kitty's got this kind of childish outlook and he's very opposite.
Definitely.
It's nice, their relationship, to see it.
Alison is on the phone to Lucy and she starts to say how much having a sister means to her, basically, and this is why they're happy to help out. Not too much to it, but basically it kind of hammers home the point that Alison is really does believe that she's her sister.
I thought it was actually really sad. And when she talks about sort of not having a family, then because she doesn't have a family to help. And now that she's found like Lucy, that she wants to help her, and I think it's just really sad. It's obviously, like, we can look at it from having watched the full episode, but it's just awful. Like it's just horrible. Like that someone. I mean, people do it all the time, don't they? This happens. It's a real that like people get scammed this way, and it's just horrendous. It's just awful that people can do that.
We on a different tact. We see Thomas kick Humphrey's head, and it gets lost. We also see Mike's videos just not going well now. He keeps stumbling over his words. But he finally manages to drum up some confidence when he starts just talking to himself about how this is he can't believe that it's their family home, and then he realises I'll just keep that kind of line going. Goes through, does an entire speech, and is really happy with what he said about this being their home and being your home, and then says, "Oh, I wish I was recording it." As he goes over, though, Julian, with his ability to press
Powerful
things,
finger.
has managed to press record, and all's forgiven between Mike and Julian.
Yeah, because it's interesting because they've had such a difficult relationship, really, from like the couple of episodes ago when he sent kisses to his boss and stuff. And I thought it was very touching episode, isn't it? This kind of like 10 minutes of like people having like really sweet interactions with others. It's quite nice.
I did like that he's sort of thanking him and saying cheers, but he's constantly
looking in the wrong direction. I think that's like the beauty of this series, and especially now I feel like as we're going into sort of, I don't know, just getting really into the thick of it and understanding these characters, is that you can have like a really sweet moment between two characters and then like 4 seconds later can be laughing at something. It just brings you back home, doesn't it? I think
that's definitely the strength of this series as a whole. It does have these like emotional beats, but then immediately afterwards there's like just a stupid like joke basically.
It kind of hits you harder as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely, I think that's just, it's what they do well, isn't it?
Definitely. So knowing that Lucy's up to no good, Kitty goes to speak to Alison and Warner, but Alison just is not hearing any of it. She is quite harsh in this scene.
Yeah, I thought that.
Where she says that the only person driving them apart is Kitty, with her jealousy, basically. And this really upsets Kitty, and she just shuts down at this point. She's like, it's quite that thing of where if you sort of have told off, you go, okay, well, fine, I'm not going to do anything. And that kind. She doesn't act like that, but like she just goes, okay, I'll believe you completely then, and whatever. Doesn't want to bring it up anymore. We see that outside, we see Mary find Humphrey's head that's been booted again. It's quite funny going between these two. We see her find his head, and Thomas is looking for her, and he asks her. He asks her to hide him, and he tells her to improvise, and she literally does that as she sort of
flashes him.
Basically, essentially, sort of goes over him with her dress to hide him and does a yes and improvisation. There's no like subtlety to it, but because it's Mary, you just think she's just being strange. So Thomas, I can't remember what she says to distract him. She says yes, and he's I can't remember now at this point, but to which Thomas just goes, okay, fair enough, and just leaves. We see Mike continue with his drone shots, and even though they've just had this not loving, but you know what I mean, like nice scene between the two of them, Julian's still got some pranks left in him. As they're trying to do the drone shot, he presses the forward button, I don't know what it is on a drone, and sends the drone flying. Back inside, the captain informs Fanny that Kitty's got her suspicions, and Fanny now, after she's been watching her Murder, She Wrote, decides that she needs to investigate. I love in this bit that the captain basically tears down the entire conceit of Murder, She Wrote by saying it's a bit suspicious that that Jessica Fletcher's always there at the scene of the murder, a bit of a coincidence. To which, Fanny's just not hearing any of it. She's just like, but she goes to investigate. kind of what I said earlier, but Kitty comes and apologizes to Alison. She says she was just jealous, and she says that she loves Lucy and trusts her completely. Aww. So again, just completely shutting down all of her suspicion, because she's like, you know.
Do you think she is shutting down her suspicion because she either trusts Alison completely, or she doesn't want to upset Alison, or she's just being mardy?
It's hard to tell, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, because it could be like a childish whatever, like, you know what I mean? Or it could be, do you know what? I don't want to lose you. I'm going to trust you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it could be either way. It doesn't come across as her being stroppy, to be fair.
No.
But who knows? Could be. The captain starts to explain this photo to Fanny. And all of the ghosts gather around, and they're all talking about this photo, and they say, well, how can they do this? And Julian kind of explains to them that you can use Photoshop now to edit it.
How does Julian know what Photoshop is?
When was it made?
I mean, I know it was the 90s.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I thought he died early 90s.
Right, well, let's find out. Photoshop. How long has it been about?
We are the podcast of live Googling.
I'd just like to know. Right, Adobe Photoshop. It was first released 1990, so it would have been around then.
God,
yeah.
That's incredible. What year did the captain die? 91, 92?
Julian, 90...
Not the captain. Yeah, sorry, Julian.
I think it's 93 or 94.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So there would have been... It probably wouldn't have been amazing, but
yeah.
In... What's it?
You
Politics.
Still manipulate photos.
Yeah. To which, he mentions that you can use Photoshop, which Pat thinks is a literal Photoshop, where you take your film and get them developed, which...
You would.
Yeah. Do you remember those? Like, I don't want it to become like a observational comedy, but it's mad that you have to go in and you have to wait like 2 days or something like that to get your photos done.
I know. But like, yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? Now you literally just pop in a card. You don't even have to do that. It's on your phone.
You forget I've got a degree in photography. I know. That means that I had to actually do my own developing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just think it's mad that like how far in such a short span. Anyway,
yeah, it's crazy.
That's not
time travel.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Not travel.
Crazy. Yeah, Julian mentions how he used to do these photoshops where he used to put the leader of the opposition's head onto a donkey for a Christmas Jeep. I have no idea who the Labour leader was in like the 90s or like the Thatcher years. There's somebody out there who will definitely know. But yeah, I'm not too sure. Before I was politically aware. And Pat he demonstrates this by using Humphrey's head by just putting it in front of Mary, is it? Mary's body? To basically say, it's this, essentially. This is how you do it. Pat goes, oh, it's like the thumb trick. Robin is a bit confused as to what the thumb trick is. Pat demonstrates it and Robin just screams like a man has just had his thumb removed.
I'm trying to figure out how you do it.
What is it now? Yeah. And yeah. Oh, I can't. Like, this is terrible for an audio podcast, by the way. It's us grappling our own thumbs here.
I'm trying to figure out how you do the thumb trick.
Like, oh, no. No. Oh, no, it's that, isn't it? Like, didn't you? No. I can't.
No, because he does it like...
We're terrible. Right, we'll practice it off air. So they all start to wonder how Lucy could have got this photo of Alison's dad. And Fanny says, what about the documentary? So they all go back upstairs to, they watch it on a Sky TV recording that they've made of this documentary, thanks to Julian pressing fast forward to get to that specific point. And they do find that, we'll get to that in a second. There's another bit. I've just realised I've jumped ahead there. But later that day, Alison tells Mike that she's going to meet up with Lucy to do the transfer in person. And says that he should come along. It's like a big event. They said they could just send it, but it's better to just do it in person. Which I imagine Lucy probably was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, she wants them to just send it and then she can run off, basically. Mike's really out of breath when she's telling him this because he's been chasing this drone around.
Yes.
As I was mentioning, they're upstairs and they're playing the documentary on the TV, and they pause it just as it gets to Alison's photograph that she was saying about her parents and where this sort of family line has come from. They a bit confused though, because in Lucy's photo, Alison's dad is looking the other way, so they're like, "Oh no, it can't be that." And Fanny quickly deduces that you can easily do this using a mirror. So if you look at it in a mirror, it's flipped the exact same way as in Lucy's photo. So now they realise what's happened, that Lucy saw it. Well, I quite like this bit because we get a montage from Fanny's perspective of what's happened, which is like such a crime drama like cliche of like seeing what happened.
Murder, She Wrote.
Like Murder, She Wrote, yeah. But yeah, we get this like montage where we see Lucy saw the documentary and learnt all the backstory, and then using this, she found Alison, said that she was her half sister, and made this photo to sort of win her trust, and then basically get her to get some money out of her in this case. They all realise this and they go rushing to find Alison and warn her of what's going on, including Humphrey's head. They're all running and chasing afterwards. They pass Kitty and she says that they've just left, actually. They've gone to meet Lucy. And then she says to give them their savings, which they now realise it's dire straits.
Yeah.
So because they hear this, they all go running and chasing after Alison and Mike. But as they're chasing them down in their car, they can't hear them because they've got music blasting in their car, which probably should give me pause for thought on blasting my music all the time. But, never mind. But they're not successful. The ghosts don't manage to get their attention, and they drive out the gate. And then next thing we know, we see them at a bar with Lucy. So you think at this point
It's too late.
It's too late. How are they going to get of this? But Lucy's sort of all thankful and happy that they're handing over their money, and she starts writing down basically starts writing down some notes on this. As she's saying this, though, if knowing what you know, Alison looks clearly annoyed,
yeah.
Very annoyed.
Upset. I mean, you'd be devastated that you would
Especially when Lucy says something like, "Imagine if Dad could see us now."
Yeah.
And that she just goes, like that. And it's like, that must be like a proper, like, knife in the gut, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But as they're doing this, they propose a toast, and Alison says that she'll fill out the details on the check, and she says, "Shall I put it down in Lucy? Is that in the name on your account?" Because why am I explaining this? I'll just let them hear it.
This is unbelievable. You guys are so kind. I was literally about to lose the lease.
Well, what's family for?
I mean, it's like it was fate. If you hadn't been on TV and I hadn't happened to have seen it, then we never would have found each other. Imagine if Dad could see us.
Okay, so, account name. Should I put Lucy? Or is that not your real name?
Somebody do something! We have to improvise!
Yes, and?
Not that kind of improvise, Mary!
Kick me. What? Kick me? Really? There comes a time when the greater good...
Oh my God.
Stop! Get back! It's about Lucy!
Yep, that's pretty clear. We've got your bank details, so I'm sure the police can work it out.
Why me?
Don't take it personally.
So it's at this point Mike takes a photo of Lucy and says that, the jig's up.
The jig's up.
1930 gangster. And yeah, they basically they know all about Lucy's sort of plan, because we see that as they drove out of the grounds, or started to drive out, Humphrey,
saves the day.
Yeah, Humphrey saves the day with the help of Thomas, I'd say. Yeah. Humphrey, mid-speech, starts saying about how he needs to be kicked along to say, but doesn't even get, just boots him like as soon as he said, you need to kick me, basically. I just love that
they knew exactly what he meant.
Yeah. And then, so Mike gets a photo of her and says that they've got her bank details, so they've got enough evidence to arrest her if they want to. Lucy grabs all of her stuff and just runs, basically, and Alison says, why did she pick her? And Lucy just says, this is the worst thing, I think. She's like, I don't take it personally, and just leaves. So it wasn't even at her, it was just anybody. And, which is how con artists
scammers
work.
are like that, aren't they?
They cast a wide net, don't they, usually? So, but yeah, Alison's upset and is comforted by Mike, and they all go back to Button House, where all the ghosts are there, and they sort of greet Alison again. Kitty apologises to Alison and says that she's sorry for losing the sister that she never had, but Alison says to Kitty that she's the sister that she never had.
So sweet.
Yeah, it's a really nice scene. Yeah. And Kitty says that she wants to hug Alison, and Alison says it's probably not going to be fun for you.
You're not going to like it.
She tries it and then immediately pulls away and says, yes, you're right, that was horrible. As this is happening, Mike sort of lies down on the sofa. He's just tired from all his day of running around and filming, and now this. But Fanny enters and thinks, it's not even Murder, She Wrote. This is Taggart anyway.
There's been a murder. Sorry to any Scottish listeners.
We've quickly found out Mike's not been murdered, and they kind of tell Fanny that maybe should lay off the Murder, She Wrote, but well done with the actual detecting. And then we end the episode off by by Alison and Mike having some food with the ghosts, thanking them for saving them, basically. But as they're doing this, obviously only Alison and Mike can eat. But quick thinking. I'll explain what happens in the scene, and I'll get to this. But yeah, quick thinking from Mary. She realizes, why don't they just improvise? And she says, yes, and start. Did she say yes and potatoes and yes and? The one that made me laugh the most was Pat saying, creamy berries.
I think it's a really nice way to end the series, because that was obviously the end of the series. So I think we can forget sometimes, because we're always just thinking about the next episode. That would have been the end until Christmas, for another year, I guess. September. So you said it was September.
September, and then there'd be one at Christmas. So
and then the series would have.
I'm not sure when the fourth series started. So probably later in the year.
Another year maybe until that started. So
I did like before we completely end off the episode. I like in this scene we see. Kitty finally gets her picture. So earlier on in the episode, she said she'd love to have a picture taken with Alison, and she does get a picture taken with Alison. Well, they've used some photoshopping technique where they've taken a portrait of Kitty and just smashed it.
Oh my god, I missed that.
Did you miss it?
Yeah, where was it?
Right at the end of the episode, it's literally like a painted portrait of Kitty,
and
then Alison at a festival.
How did I miss that? That's great.
Yeah. But yeah, so that got me. That properly made me laugh. That bit did. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. So, not technically the end, because we do see Mike chasing after his drone again as Julian is pranking him. Right to end the episode.
Right to end the episode.
What do you think?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great sort of we've had the story of Lucy has gone on through the whole series. Not every episode, but it's gone through the whole series.
It's literally, it's not been from the first episode, but the reason Lucy comes about is because of the first episode, because the first episode was the documentary.
Was it really?
Yeah.
That feels like such a long time ago. I mean, it was 6 weeks ago.
Well,
so.
yeah, morph with us because we've had a week off or something like that.
Sorry, team. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I think it... I'm just collating my thoughts. I think it's a good... It rounds it off really nicely, especially sort of that final scene with them all in the kitchen. I kind of like... I feel a little bit... Coming on from last episode, I feel a little bit sorry for Mike in a way that he doesn't get to experience that.
Yeah.
Of their sort of like... I mean, they are basically the family that Alison doesn't have. Like,
Essentially,
you know?
yeah.
So it kind of just brings that all together, which I really like. It sounds weird for me to say, I suppose. But I think whilst watching this, obviously I knew how it turned out with Lucy because we watched it before. But rewatching it, I was like, I'm kind of glad that like Lucy wasn't actually her sister.
Yeah.
I think it would have... I'm struggling to explain it really. I think if Lucy was genuinely her sister and it came to be that like, well, that she was her sister, I think it would have changed the dynamic.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I more so on the rewatch, I just get this feeling that like they are Alison's family. Like, yes, she's got Mike and she's got his family. But it just kind of, I just feel like these little stories of like, her saying how Kitty's a sister, like she never had and stuff. It just sort of brings that together that they are her family.
Yeah. Especially at the end when they're all sat around the table having a meal. It's such a
and even though they're not, I mean, I don't mean like living in the same universe, but like living in the same realm. I don't know, I'm going Sabrina the Teenage Witch now, but like... like they still have this connection, and I guess it just shows that even when people are from different time periods, very different time periods, they can still sort of get on and live together and enjoy each other's company. It's just really interesting to explore.
I think there's definitely a wider message there of like how people are just people. Like ultimately when it comes down to it, like you can get on with anyone from any... I mean, look at Julian and somebody like...
Robin.
Yeah. Like they're complete opposite ends of like everything. And yet they can still get on. Like you spend enough time with somebody and you start... all the stuff like... that defines them externally doesn't matter because like they're just person. You know?
I think their relationship is interesting because especially when they play chess together.
And it's just a funny visual like joke as well, you know what I mean? I just think it was a good episode and I think it's a great sort of round off to the series. I think I've been thinking about this. I think, what did I give the Christmas episode? I can't remember. That's how high we're talking right now. Episode, right, let's have a look.
I don't write them down.
Oh no, I don't write yours down, so I don't know.
Did I give it a 9 or a 10?
I think you might have gave it a 10, yeah. I think you said you saved your first 10 for the Christmas episode because you liked it so much.
Or did I give it a 9.5?
I wonder if we can find it.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to give this... I'm struggling between an 8.5 and a 9.
Do you want me to do my rating in my
Go on.
Well, I'll just do my little wrap up as well.
Yeah,
so I thought it was a really good end as well. I liked that we had got a long series story rather than just individual episodes. And the ending was like really well thought out. Like everything sort of came together, and you get all that emotional sort of like beats of Alison finding a true family like at the end. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. So I gave it a 9.
I think I'm going to have to give it a 9 as well.
Yeah, a pair of 9ers from us. from IMDb, it got an 8.6 from 591. So pretty high.
Yeah, I would
I'd
say pretty high.
Yeah, it's one of the higher episodes, I think, on there. So, yeah, pretty good episode, I thought, overall.
Spirits and spectres to Tasha's spooky corner.
So, I feel like I was so.
What up? You should start.
Why? I don't know what your obsession is.
It's on Always Sunny, and whenever they start on their videos, they're like, "What up?"
Okay, well, I'm not going to do that. So, we've come. So we're looking at the world. We're looking at the world.
The history of the world.
The history of the world. Haunted places across the world, and I figured, why not come full circle? So we're coming straight back to London, England.
Okay.
And we're going to look at this week the Tower of London.
It's a biggie. It's a biggie.
I've kind of
one we've actually been to, or been past at least. Yeah.
I've kind of maybe not looked at haunted stories and stuff as such, but just some sort of iconic things that have happened that are a bit spooky. Probably mean that the place is haunted.
Probably. I know one, if it's not in there. You probably got it in there, but if not, I know one story as well about the Tower of London.
Okay, well, you can...
Well, wait, see if you've got it first. You'll have way more facts if you've done research on it.
I probably missed it, to be honest. So, okay. So, the Tower of London, officially His Majesty's Royal Palace and Fortress of the Tower of London. It's got a big name.
Is it King Charles, isn't it, then?
Yeah, well, it's
okay.
Is a historic castle on the north bank of the River Thames in central London, England. It lies within the London borough of Tower Hamlets, which is separated from the eastern edge of the square mile of the City of London in the open space known as Tower Hill. It was founded towards the end of 1066 as part of the Norman conquest. The White Tower, which gives the entire castle its name, was built by William the Conqueror in 1078 and was initially a resented symbol of oppression inflicted upon London by the new Norman ruling class. The castle was also used as a prison from 1100, and then it says Ralph Flambard, I assume he was the first person, until 1952. Cray twins. Although...
The Cray twins? What?
That were in prison there.
Oh, really? That's mad.
Although that was not its primary purpose. A grand palace early in its history, it served as a royal residence. As a whole, the tower is a complex of several buildings set within two concentric rings of defensive walls and a moat. There were several phases of expansion, mainly under Kings Richard I, Henry III and Edward I in the 12th and 13th centuries. The general layout established by the late 13th century remains despite later activity on the site. The Tower of London has played a prominent role in English history. It was besieged several times, and controlling it has been important in controlling the country. The tower has served variously as an armoury, a treasury, a menagerie, the home of the Royal Mint, a public record office, and the home of the crown jewels of England. From the early 14th century until the reign of King Charles II in the 17th century, the monarch would traditionally prepare for several nights at the Tower and lead a procession from there to Westminster Abbey for their coronation. Today, the Tower of London is one of the country's most popular tourist attractions. Under the ceremonial charge of the Constable of the Tower, operated by the resident Governor of the Tower of London and Keeper of the Jewel House, and guarded by the yeoman warders. I never know how to say
They're the
that word.
beefeaters, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
The property is cared for by the charity Historic Royal Palaces and is protected by the World Heritage Site. So,
I did not know it was in Tower Hamlets. I mean, it makes sense, but I always thought it was City of London. Because whenever you go anywhere in like London and they say City of London, that's always part of it.
but the City of London is divided up into these
loads of
very
different-
small.
Yeah.
I knew that after looking for hotels when we go to the O2.
Yeah.
Anyway, no one needs to know that. I've found a page and it gave some interesting facts on like the different people that have got interested. So number 1, Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes was taken to the Tower of London after his part in a plot to assassinate James I at Parliament in 1605. Imprisoned in the King's house, Guy Fawkes was subjected to intense torture, likely on a rack in the White Tower dungeons.
Not just normal torture, intense.
Intense torture.
To be fair, if you try and kill the king,
you're asking for trouble. So Anne Boleyn's possessions. As ghost stories go, there are few as spooky and as tragic as this one. When Henry VIII broke with the Roman Catholic Church to set aside his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, and became the supreme head of his new church, the Church of England, Anne Boleyn became Henry.
The lyrics are in your head.
I know. Anne Boleyn became Henry's second wife. Just 3 years later, Anne was accused of adultery and taken as a prisoner by barge along the River Thames to the Tower of London through the infamous Traitor's Gate. Anne was beheaded on Tower Green and laid to rest in the Chapel Royal of St. Peter ad Vincula. St. Peter in Chains. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The parish church of Tower of London. Some 340 years later, a soldier reported seeing a light burning in the closed chapel. After climbing to a window to look within, the soldier is said to have seen a procession of knights and ladies led by a headless Anne Boleyn. So then
we've been not actually on it, but do you remember when we went to what's it called, London Dungeon? You do the Traitor's Gate boat journey.
Oh yeah.
I remember that. You don't actually go down Traitor's Gate, but it's a nice facsimile.
So Henry VI, imprisoned in the Wakefield Tower of the Tower of London, Henry VI was murdered at the altar of the King's private chapel in 1471, close to midnight. Henry's ghost is believed to haunt the Wakefield Tower, appearing at the stroke of midnight. Number 4, the ghost of a bear. Henry III housed a menagerie of wild animals at the Tower of London, including a gift of either lions or leopards from the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II in 1235. Pumas, tigers, jackals, and an elephant from France, and even
It sounds like what's it, the Wizard of Oz? There.
An elephant from France and even a polar bear were to follow. Visitors came to the tower to see the creatures, with bear baiting going on to become a popular pastime in the 16th and 17th century in London. It seems the horrors of this pastime are still heard today. The ghost of the bear is said to appear from behind the door of the jewel room, perhaps to a spectre guard to the crown jewels. The ghost is a black bear and is also reported to have appeared near the Martin Tower in 1816. I've got quite a lot of these.
Sorry,
are you interested?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm
Sorry,
enjoying
skip ahead if you're not interested. Sir Walter Raleigh, I think his name is, sent to the tower no less than 3 times. Explorer Sir Walter Raleigh was imprisoned by both Elizabeth I and James I. He spent over 13 years in the bloody tower during one confinement and attempted suicide. Sir Walter Raleigh's last imprisonment was at the Tower of London in the Beauchamp Tower took place in 1603 before he was beheaded outside the Palace of Westminster.
What did he do? I always thought he was like, all right, Walter Raleigh, but apparently not.
Oh.
I mean, you didn't have to do much to get beheaded. In these
The Faceless Woman. So in 1957, Welsh Guardsman Johns was on sentry duty at the Salt Tower. He encountered a shapeless form with the face of a young woman, perhaps one of the many women who suffered a terrible fate at the Tower of London. Margaret Pole. Like Anne Boleyn, the beheading of Margaret Pole, Countess of Salisbury, took place on Tower Green, which lies to the west of the White Tower. Margaret Pole was 67 at the time of her death. She was brought to the scaffold by Henry VIII for a crime of being the mother of Cardinal Pole. Cardinal Pole's crime was opposing Henry's self-created position as supreme head of the Church of England. Eyewitnesses say the executioner on that fateful day in 1541 was a wretched and blundering youth who, unable to perform a clean execution with his axe, instead hacked at Margaret Pole's head and shoulders. That eternal scream echoes through the towers today.
I've heard that one, where he just didn't know what he was doing and just made a right mess of it.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that maybe in a TV show or something. And I think I'm thinking of Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones steals from history, to be fair.
The White Figure. The Tower of London is protected by yeoman warders, nicknamed Beefeaters. In 1864, Captain J.D. Dundas observed a yeoman attempting to charge a whitish female figure with his bayonet. Chillingly, this apparition appeared in the courtyard where Anne Boleyn was beheaded. Lady Jane Grey. Always a grey lady. Always a grey lady. Lady Jane Grey became...
That was her name, though, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Sorry. Thought it was just another grey lady.
She was a grey lady.
Lady Jane Grey became queen after the death of King Edward the Sixth, son of King Henry VIII. She's known as the English Queen with the shortest reign, a mere 9 days. Edward named Lady Jane Grey as his heir in his last will over his half-sister Mary. A pawn in royal power games, the King's protector, John Dudley, had arranged for the 16-year-old Lady Jane Grey to marry his son, Lord Guildford Dudley. On Edward's death, on the 6th of July, 1553, Protestant Lady Jane Grey became Queen, a title she was to hold for just over a week before the Council decreed that Catholic Mary was the true ruler of England. Lady Jane Grey and her husband Dudley were executed on the infamous Tower Green in 1554. The white figure of Jane is said to haunt the battlements of the Tower of London to this day.
I like how she got executed just because you're like, you were the queen.
Now you're not anymore.
Now
they
you
needed to
lose
find a way of getting rid of her.
Yeah, basically. They can't have somebody with like a claim, can they?
And then the monk's footsteps. If you visit Tower of London, listen out for the sounds of sandals slapping against the stone floors, reported to be from the steps of a ghostly monk. Arbella Stewart, an often repeated ghost sighting at the Tower of London is that of Arbella Stewart, cousin to Elizabeth I. Arbella was imprisoned by James I for marrying William Seymour, nephew of Lady Jane Grey, without royal consent. Seeing this match as a possible threat to his throne, James placed Arbella under arrest at the Tower, where she either refused to eat or was purposefully starved. Arbella's ghost is thought to stalk the Queen's house. Then the young princes.
This is the one I know about.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the death of Edward IV, Edward's young son, 12-year-old Edward,
That's why
became
the king.
King Edward V under the protection of his uncle, the Duke of Gloucester. Wanting to take the crown for himself, the Duke of Gloucester imprisoned Edward and his young brother Richard in the Tower of London. Their mother, Elizabeth Woodville took sanctuary at Westminster Abbey. After declaring young Edward illegitimate, the Duke of Gloucester became King Richard III. Edward and Richard were never seen again, believed to be murdered at the order of their uncle. The bones of 2 children were later found beneath the staircase of the Tower of London.
And he got his comeuppance if he did do it, because he got found under a car park in Leicester.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? What a way to go. And then finally, a bit anticlimactic, the nameless thing. Lastly,
Sounds like
the nameless thing is a petrifying spirit which follows the guards of the tower as they walk their beat from the River Thames Sally Portal entrance.
Sounds like something from a Call of Cthulhu or something like that. Does the nameless thing. Like, oh, you see, you go mad or something like that.
So, there we have Tower of London.
To be fair, I've always heard that there's tons of ghost stories there, so you just have to run the gamut of that one. So there you go. We got a lot of ghost stories there. So, I guess that's it for this week.
Yeah, I guess we normally in our Christmas episode, when our last episode of the series, we ask for feedback rather than doing a ghost thing. Probably should have mentioned this at the beginning. So if you've made it this far, well done. Because, but yeah. So if you do have any feedback, I think we had like favourite episode, favourite scene, favourite character going like from this series. Just if you're enjoying the podcast as well, it'd be interesting to know. Like if you're enjoying it, I guess you might be if you come this far, but it would be good to know. Anything you want to see from us in the future, just let us know. I guess it's I probably should have said it at the beginning, but yeah, just send us all your feedback. I want it all.
Maybe we'll edit it in, so if there's a hastily put bit at the beginning where it says,
you'll know why.
You'll know why. Yeah. So anyway.
Thanks for listening. We love to hear what you think, and if you'd like to keep up to date with when new episodes of the podcast are released, you can follow us on our Instagram and our Facebook profile. Just search Haunting Button House. You can also get in touch via email at hauntingbuttonhouse@outlook.com.